The moment you bring a baby home is one of the great joys in a family's life, but it can be very tricky introducing a new permanent fixture into your dog's life, one who has an unfamiliar smell, makes erratic movements, steals your attention, and emits squawking sounds that can make four-legged family members anxious. The key to having your dog and baby get along is to plan ahead. Keep watching this video to learn our step-by-step guide for introducing your pup to your newborn, starting with things you can do to help the transition while you're pregnant. Before we get into this, make sure to subscribe to our channel for more doggy tips and best practices. Leave a comment down below saying I subscribe, and we will try our best to personally respond to your comments. Teach your pup obedience commands before the baby's birth. Your puppy will benefit from any training you can accomplish before your baby's birth. Teaching your dog some basic obedience skills will help you manage her behavior when the baby comes. If your puppy doesn't know a command like drop it or leave it, that may be an important skill to add to his arsenal before a tiny baby comes home. Just think about how you'll need to respond if he rushes towards baby food that's fallen on the floor, or if he picks up a baby toy that you really don't want all chewed up. Another surprisingly useful command: go to your bed or crate. No matter how intelligent your dog is, you'll need to give him plenty of time to nail that new skill. That means starting to train months ahead of the baby's arrival. One of the best things you can do early on is to look into a puppy training course where your puppy can learn basic obedience behavior that seems harmless now, like jumping up to greet you at the door, might become an issue when you're 8 months pregnant. We like the Brain Training for Dogs online course. It gives you the opportunity to work directly with a professional trainer on obedience training exercises rather than trying to figure it all out on your own. This can relieve so much pressure knowing that you're eliminating bad behavior and training your pup to be obedient and safe around your baby. There are loads of positive results from people who have gone through this course. Here's what Sonoma W had to say: after going through this program, I feel 100 times more confident and far better about training. I have a far better understanding of behaviors, and my puppy definitely seems to pick up on that confidence. This system is the best confidence booster and the best way to teach your dog. You could check it out in the description below. Prepare your puppy for changes to everyday routines. If you can predict how your schedule will change when the baby comes, begin a slow transition towards that new schedule now. If you plan to nap in the afternoon when the baby is sleeping, start taking occasional afternoon naps. If you plan to walk your dog at different times of day, gradually switch to the new routine. Life with a baby can be hectic and sometimes unpredictable. It may help to prepare your dog for a less consistent daily schedule. Try varying the times you feed your dog. For example, if she gets breakfast every morning at 7 a.m. sharp, start feeding her at random times between 6 a.m. and 10 a.m. Alternatively, you can plan to stick to your dog's regular schedule with the help of the Honey Guardian automatic feeder. These units have built-in timers so you can program them to dispense food to your pet at set times each day, whether you're around or not. You can find it in the description. Gradually reduce the amount of attention given to your pup. Resist the temptation to lavish your dog with extra attention in the weeks before the baby's due date. This will only set her up for a bigger letdown when the baby comes and takes center stage. Instead, start scheduling short play and cuddle sessions with your dog and gradually give her less and less attention at other times of day. Schedule your sessions randomly so that your dog doesn't come to expect attention at any particular time. Begin introducing new house rules to your puppy. When the baby comes home, some of your dog's privileges will likely change. It'll be easiest for her to accept these changes if you institute new rules in advance. If you don't want your dog on the furniture or the bed after the baby arrives, introduce that restriction now. If you don't want your dog to jump on you when you're carrying your new baby or holding him in your lap, start teaching her to keep all 4 of her paws on the floor. If your dog is used to sleeping in bed with you and you want that to change with the baby's arrival, provide a comfortable dog bed that she can use instead. If necessary, you can place the new bed in an exercise pen or a crate to prevent her from jumping up onto your bed during the night. Likewise, if you want your dog to sleep in another room when the baby arrives, establish this habit well in advance. Introduce your puppy to baby sights and smells. Unwrap new baby supplies such as toys, car seats, high chairs, and swings from their packaging and introduce them to your dog 1 or 2 at a time. You can also place smaller items on the floor when you're around to supervise your dog. Let him investigate them, but if he picks them up, immediately redirect his attention to one of his own toys or chew bones. Keep in mind that it might be difficult for your dog to tell the difference between his things and the baby's. That's why it's important to help her start learning now. Start to use a little bit of the baby's lotions, shampoos, creams, and powders on yourself so that your dog associates them with a familiar person. If you can, borrow clothes and blankets that smell like a baby to get the dog used to that smell too. Establish rules for the baby's nursery early. It is important to establish the rules of the nursery for your dog before the baby arrives. If you don't want him in the room, put up a baby gate and begin teaching him what it means. Reward him each time he calmly stays outside of the room, but discourage him from whining or scratching at the gate. That way, he'll feel prepared once the baby comes home and spends lots of time in the nursery. If you like what you see so far, subscribe and give us a like. Hit the notification bell so you're notified anytime we upload. Get your dog used to the sounds that babies make. If your puppy is sensitive to strange noises, he might become agitated or frightened when he hears the baby cry. To help him get used to the sound in advance, get a recording of realistic baby noises and play it frequently. Whenever you play the recording, give your dog plenty of attention treats and anything else he likes. After 5 to 10 minutes, turn the recording off and ignore your dog for half an hour or so. Do this several times a day. Instead of becoming afraid or upset when he hears baby sounds, he'll learn to look forward to them because they predict attention and treats for him. Practice walking your dog with a stroller. Practice walking your pup while you're pushing your future baby's wheels. Your neighbors may be puzzled, but this will help your dog get used to the stroller. Be sure not to loop the leash onto the stroller handle. If your furry friend happens to see a squirrel or another canine buddy, he might jerk the leash dangerously when there's a baby tucked in the stroller. Prepare your dog for the baby's touch and movement. When your child is old enough to understand the lesson, you'll teach them to handle your dog gently. However, not knowing any better, young babies often grab dogs' fur, ears, tails, and anything else within reach. To prepare your dog for this inevitably, get him accustomed to the types of touching you can expect from your baby, including grabbing, poking, pushing, and pulling. If you teach your dog that good things happen when she gets poked and prodded, she'll be able to better tolerate potentially uncomfortable interactions with the baby. Some dogs have never seen a human crawl, so it can be an intimidating experience, especially because crawling puts a person right at their eye level. So it's a good idea to help your dog get used to crawling before your baby starts to become mobile. Accomplishing this is easy. Crawl towards your dog. As soon as he lifts his head to look at you, pet him and give him treats. Plan for the baby's home arrival. When bringing your baby home from the hospital, send everyone else into the house first so your pup can express his usual excitement to see people. The dog will likely be very excited to see mom, so it's a good idea to have someone else carry the baby just to ensure everybody's safety. This allows mom to greet the dog affectionately to show that she missed him too. Manage first interactions between the baby and your pup. Once you finally bring the baby home, you'll want to keep your dog's interactions with him or her brief at first. Allow the dog to see but not touch the baby. If your dog gets too excited, just calmly walk him out of the room. Reward him for calm behavior, but walk him out of the room if he whines. After your dog becomes accustomed to the sight, smell, and sound of the baby, you can allow the dog to sniff the baby while controlled on a leash. And then, after a few days, supervise him off the leash. Get your dog to sit when your baby is in the room. Just as your dog may have needed to adjust to sleeping in a room separate from yours, he'll also need to get used to not being the center of attention all the time. New parents are encouraged to tell the dog to sit each time a baby is brought into the room in the first few weeks. Each time your pup complies, reward him with food or a toy. You can allow him to approach when you're holding the baby, but make sure that you discourage him from climbing, jumping, or otherwise disrupting the baby. Never leave the dog with the baby. Even if you're in the same room and confident that your dog knows how to behave around the baby, you should never let your dog interact with the baby without your attention. Dogs don't understand how delicate a baby is, so they can inadvertently hurt a child just by investigating the baby's sounds or smells. No matter how great your dog is, still doesn't understand exactly what's going on with this tiny human. Look out for everybody's safety. Avoid scolding puppy for picking up your baby's item. While it may prove useful for your dog to know a command like drop it, you should never scold your dog for picking up something that belongs to the baby. You don't want him to associate the baby scent with anything negative, so if he picks up a baby toy, just replace it with one that belongs to the dog. Make sure your dog gets enough attention. One of the most important things you need to do to help your dog successfully acclimate: ensure that your dog still gets plenty of attention and exercise. When the baby is sleeping, you'll probably want to get some sleep yourself, but don't forget that it's also the best time to give your dog some attention. Play with him, cuddle with him, and otherwise demonstrate that you don't love him any less, just because you have a new baby. Also, make sure you give him attention while the baby is around too, so that he doesn't think good things only happen when the baby's in another room. Both kids and dogs need to learn how to interact with one another. Just remember that everything takes time, and it's going to take some patience to help your child and your dog coexist happily and healthfully. Are you anxious about introducing your new puppy to your resident dogs? Depending on the age and temperament of your resident dogs, the newcomer may be accepted or treated with resentment and jealousy. But don't worry, this is perfectly normal, and chances are good that within a few days, the two or more of them will be best friends. Check out this video where we walk you through 10 easy steps that you could take to successfully introduce your new puppy to your four-legged canine family. If you're new to our channel and you like it, leave us a comment and please subscribe.